Good morning. So today I've come in on to talk to you again about collaging. Yesterday I did a video on collaging from the start, and I just wanted to come back on and do a little bit more collaging with you. So just going to go over a few things that you need. As you see, I'm ripping, but I'm also holding on to all the things that I've got still available. So I prefer to rip than cut, giving sort of not really a straight line. I've got a piece of paper here. Now ideally I could cover that with any one of creative papers that I have here, but I've chosen this time round to work with plain paper, and as you see we will go on to what we're doing. I've also chosen to kind of stick and not actually rip around the image too much, because I am going to end up sticking over and you're not going to see the square line of this box. So I'm just going to fill it all with actual feathers, as you can see, which have been printed down. So again, just going over a few points. Make sure you've got watered down PVA glue, 3/4 glue and 1/4 water. If you feel that it's getting overly thick, put some more water in, because I've just done that as well. Make sure everything is in line with you and that you've got something down to protect your table. I've also got a little bit of I've got actually a cutting mat underneath, so I'm making sure that it really does not go through your table. You can stick down heavy duty plastic or even a plastic tablecloth, whatever you're used to using. So I'm just going to apply literally the glue down onto the paper, and no hassle, just doesn't matter, just put it down, okay, quite a bit. So it takes the paper, and then as I put this down, I'm also just going to go over the top, making sure I'm smoothing down the edges onto the paper. Now yesterday I was actually going over the top. So with PVA glue, it makes things quite glossy, and it also gives you a chance to kind of I'm not overly glossing that, because I may actually go on top and actually do some drawing after I'm finished. So I've also got here, I've been printing, this is a certain type of printing which is deli printing, which is something I will show in some videos. Now with this one I am going to try and tear it, although it's on tissue paper, and just making sure that I actually don't tear into the actual image. And sometimes you can do it, sometimes you get it on the wrong part of the grain, but this one seems not too bad. I'm not going too near to the image. Sometimes I go very near, especially if I'm working with cartridge paper, but in this case I'm going to work with the tissue paper, so I'm not going too near to the image, but I am controlling actually the the actual image that I'm going to do. So I've left that at that. I'm going to do another one, because I'm probably going to layer down a few different bits, and this is again, so this one's a little bit different. Obviously tracing paper is a little bit different. You do get different grains of paper that will react in different ways when you tear them, and you just take a chance. You know something, this isn't about doing perfect work, this is just gaining your confidence in actually collaging and having a go at trying something a little bit different. Some people like it, some people don't. It's a very good way to actually make work very quickly. So as you can see, I might put that one on that one, okay, and I'm probably going to start to cover up. I'm just looking for a few more. That one I think I cut out yesterday, And again, so by putting it on tissue paper or tracing paper, you are actually kind of allowing the image to be ghost. So basically it's kind of almost looking quite sort of like a ghost version of the actual design. Okay, so this one I've just actually kind of gone in because again, this is newsprint, so it's not very forgiving. So I probably should have cut this one. And in fact, I could probably cut it now and just take it as close to it as possible. And the reason I've done that is because I'm realizing I'm actually tearing into the actual design. So, but if you do tear into the design, just still use it, because by the time you glue it down, you won't notice the difference. Okay, I'm just going to put that there. Now, I don't tend to throw away any paper because I'm usually inking up paper. And so that's another image. I've got a brown image here that's been done on paper as well. So what I'm planning on doing is actually building up my images. And again, I'm taking paper scissors to this one. So it's purely up to you what you would like. I could do the other side with try tearing it, see what the brown paper does. Yeah, it's a little bit more controlled, okay, rather than working with newsprint. So you've got a little bit more control over what you are doing. Just, you know, depends on the density of the paper that you are using, whether it's tracing paper, whether it's technical drawing paper, you know, all those different things. Cartridge, again, is something else. So I'm getting those images, because what I'm going to do is kind of pile up the images. And I've got a little bit of newsprint there, and I've got design there. So I'm just going to show you kind of like a series of kind of printing techniques I've done working with deli paper. And it's a really nice technique because it brings out the detail. It's almost like working with a press and doing etching, but in a much well, not everybody has a press, do they? So it's working in paper. So I'm just going to, from here, I'm just going to play around. I'm just going to play around with the composition of the design. So this is looking at the composition and how it's going down before I actually start to stick it down. So I've got that coming there. I might just put that there. So I'm playing with composition at the moment of the design and thinking how it's going. And it doesn't matter if it comes out of the picture, so don't worry about it all staying within this white frame, okay? Again, looking at which way my actual design is going. Am I going to let it flow up there? Am I going to basically put a bit down here? Okay, and as you go along, it will start to fit in. In fact, I think that's the other way around. Yes, it is the other way around. So I'm going to just take that bit off. So again, just playing with composition. Now, composition is really important, especially if you're going to sell your work. So it's, you know, certainly not undervalued composition. So again, I'm just letting that come in, and actually I'm kind of just featuring around, and I'm in an orange at this moment. Do I want to put in another feather or not? And I might just put in this feather here, which is quite strand. And again, I'm tearing, but I'm not tearing too close to the image because I don't want to lose it. I'm giving it a little bit of space as to what, you know, it's got to be. So again, just tearing up. And, you know, I could have quite well had these images prepared before I've done this, but I wanted to show you that actually you just got to get confidence to start, you know, having a go at things and it not being perfect, because art isn't perfect. You know, it's not like we're doing a Renaissance painting for a client. That would then be quite perfect. So then I've got another image there. Okay, so my images are coming together quite nicely. I might just put that over there, and then we've got a little bit down there. Now, do I need more on that side? Because I've got 4 clusters on this side and 2 on this. Now, if we look at the Fibonacci technique, which is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so we're just counting. I've got 4 there, got 8 there, that's 7. But does it look lopsided? So we probably have to put in a 9 to make that technique. We've already got that actual one there. I've got a very long one, but I don't feel that's actually going to go in with that. So I kind of want to keep that for something else. But we do have a little bit more there. So I think at this moment in time, I'm going to leave it at that. And if I feel the need, I may draw in around about here and maybe here, just kind of the ends of the, basically the feathers. So let's go to actually putting things down now. So just going to leave that on that side. So now I'm going to again start to wet, start to glue down my area. Now don't worry about buckling, because to be quite honest, later on you can always iron out your paper if it buckles after it's dried, and usually it stretches back. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to put that on there. Just go a little bit on the ends. Okay, make that attached there. Okay, as you see, I'm not covering it yet in the whole thing in, we had it like that, didn't we? There you go, I've even forgotten now. So if you don't want to forget your how you've laid out and you take it away, the other easy way of doing it is to take a picture of, and then you don't forget what the layout is like. And then you can try it different ways as well. So we've got that down. I'm going to just put a bit more here. Okay. So I will show you what I did yesterday in terms of the design. So come back through here. Okay. Make sure the design comes in slightly more. Okay, there we go. And with the fact that I'm using tissue paper, can tear quite easy, but I'm going over the top and I'm just basically realigning that. It's a bit like making a patchwork quilt, really, the whole process. Oh, I forgot the brown one, didn't I? I knew I forgot something. Okay, so I may just put the brown one on this side, because I was supposed to put the brown one on, wasn't I? Let's see if we put that there and then that one on there. Does that work? I actually preferred it all on one side. Maybe we could just add that in about there, so we're making a dominant brown. Okay, not quite as good as I wanted, but you know something, I'm just going to put this one down and work it. So the one thing with having tissue paper, tissue paper is, don't drop your brush like I did, but is basically to kind of settle the edges, to kind of, it sticks really well, tissue paper, so nothing else comes up. So this one I am covering over. Then I'm just going to put a little bit over, a bit more on these ones. Okay, and I'll leave that to come off. I'm going to just glue, just glue this one down before it sticks everywhere. Okay. And again, I will be doing kind of like a series on printing because I think people love to print. I like to print. It's a nice touch, printing. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit there. Oops. Just make sure that that cut that I originally did doesn't come out. Okay, and you're blending in the background, and then just move that one out of the way. A little bit more. Coming around. So with watered down PVA, you could also add fabric in if you wanted to. So lace is really nice to do. I'll move that up a touch, although it fits really nice into there. Okay, right. Lace is really nice to kind of glue down, gives that feeling of kind of time and antique. So it's another way of looking at an image. So that is what I'm kind of doing. Now, I've got a paintbrush, she says, somewhere. Where's my paintbrush? Okay, so I've got some Koinor paints here, which are, you can get them at suppliers really. You do find them in the odd craft store. I would say Hobbycraft in England have them. I would say they're from, I think, Latvia. So sometimes they're easy to get hold, sometimes they're not. I pay about $1.99, but then I'm buying in bulk, so it's obviously a little bit cheaper on that side. But at the same time, you can pick them up from places like See What White, which is a company that has art supplies and paper, and you can certainly pick them up from specialists. So if you're any teachers in doing art subjects, or even if you're starting new, but you can pick them up from certain art shops, okay? And they shouldn't cost you any more than about $2.99, I think. I know on Amazon they're about £5. Avoid sort of going with those suppliers because they are overly expensive. So make sure you've got some water. These are quite intense. They're like really, they're intense inks, and they're made from original pigmented colours that are coming from the earth. So they last for years. This one I've had, I must be about 5 years now, and yes, it is wearing out, but there are things. So just going to kind of bring on maybe a little bit of blue and green together with a little bit of dark. So I'm just going to kind of do the background, and as I do the background, I'm just going to do a wash, okay? And you don't have to go too heavy. Don't forget I've got glue down, so that is going to change various things. So I'm not looking at being perfectly smooth because glue will react in different ways, but I am kind of using a little bit of everything. So that colour will now probably not come back again because until I wash it out, but you're kind of looking a little bit going on there. And once they're down, it's actually, sometimes they just take and they go and ridge, but that's okay. That's, you know, the manner of what I'm doing. I'm not looking for perfection. So again, a little bit. So I'm using kind of like emerald green, turquoise blue, and a darker blue to just going into the background. And obviously the turquoise is quite a dominant colour, okay? Because if you look, that's a bit more blue and that's a bit more green over there. And the reason I've gone with those colours is because it is kind of blue. You can certainly turn your work around, okay, as you're doing it. Again, a bit more intensity of colour, okay. And then I'm just covering. The reason I'm covering, I'm putting the colour on now, is just to give a little bit more of, you know, you don't have to wait for things to be dry in order to do anything. So now that's some intensity of green coming into the picture, okay. I'm blending it in, I'm just picking up the colour and stuff like that. So yeah, so you're kind of just at that point where you're trying it out, you're trying out your colours. You know, you can fill in with colours, you could fill in with more sort of design going over the top, but it depends what you want, okay. We're all different. I'm going to bring sort of the green and the lighter green together down here, which again will change again, okay. So there is quite an intensity of colours going on, and if I bring in a little bit of blue, that starts to make it a little bit darker. Don't forget when you're doing your colours to use water, okay. These are pigmented inks, they're not watercolours as such, but they are lovely to work with. And I'm just going to a little bit of intensity and bringing the olive, okay. So I think it's more of a case of getting used to your colours and what colours they can do. So again, I've got coming in here, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of blue, okay. So I'm not losing totally my thing. So they are lovely, these colours. Again, they're Koh-i-Noor, and you can really have some quite nice fun, but they do dry very quickly, even though I've got the glue going on. I'm just going to bring a bit more intensity, and we're going to go with a little bit dark, so it's almost like the ink, so it's coming around, and then blend in. And this is where it helps to have something down so that you can, if you're doing the ends and off the thing, and then you're blending in and you're just smoothing it out, your colours, okay. So as you can see, things are kind of happening in areas, and it's where glue is and it possibly not. So this is how the intensity is actually happening. I'm just going to take a little bit of that intensity of colour so it blends in with that design. Now because I can't put my hands down because I'll get gluey, but I am allowing for, okay, the intensity. Oh, that's very dark, okay, but that's okay because that probably provides a little bit of depth. Okay, now that's very dark, isn't it? But and I may choose to go over lighter when it's dry over the top of some leaves. Now this is the only one I didn't choose to go over the top with glue, so I'm going to leave that one. So as you can see, that is kind of, at this moment in time, it's not finished, because what I tend to do with a lot of my work is I tend to back it with fabric and then go over it with stitch. So that's the next sort of kind of thing that I look to do. But that's a start. So for anybody that's doing collaging, this is collage 2, confidence to collage 2. I'm probably going to do a little few series on these so that you can have a good idea as to what you would like to actually do. I'm Laura Rothenberg. If you like my series of designs, just subscribe. Have a great day. Bye for now.